Hi everyone! Welcome to my cooking channel Japanese Food at Home. I'm Chef Reina from Japan. This time, I'm gonna explain how to make ginger pork, which is one of the most popular ways to cook pork here in Japan. Ginger pork is called Shogayaki in Japanese, and generally speaking, thinly sliced pork is used. However, in some countries with a knife and fork food culture, thinly sliced meat may not be as easily available as in Asian countries where people use chopsticks. Therefore, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to prepare ginger pork using pork loin steaks. Here is the ingredient list. I'm gonna sear 2 pork loin steaks together in a large frying pan. Each steak weighs approximately 150 grams, but you can cook whatever weight suits you. For the sauce, you need soy sauce, sake, mirin, fresh ginger, and honey. The ginger is to be grated, and you can substitute a paste product if you want to, but freshly grated is so much better from the perspective of the spiciness and the flavor. As side dishes, I'm gonna serve shredded cabbage and green shiso leaves. Shredded cabbage is the most typical accompaniment for ginger pork. Shiso is an herb that is widely used in Japanese cuisine, and I like to mix it into the shredded cabbage. But if it's not available, you can skip it or replace it with another herb such as basil. In addition, I'm gonna saute cherry tomatoes and green beans together with the pork steaks so you can cut down your meal prep time. To begin with, let's prepare the ingredients for the side dishes. There is one thing I want you to remember when you prep something for cooking. When you process multiple ingredients on the same cutting board, please start with the ones to be eaten raw prior to the ones to be cooked, and be sure to make the raw meat or fish the last thing you handle to avoid cross-contamination. For today, the cabbage and shiso will be served raw, so please prepare them first while the utensils are at their cleanest. To shred cabbage, the easiest way may be to use a vegetable peeler or mandolin slicer, as neither requires any special techniques. But it may be faster to slice with a knife if you're comfortable. Lay the cabbage with the flat side facing down to stabilize it, and slice it as thinly as you can. When your cabbage is too large, you may want to peel the leaves one by one beforehand so that you can easily work with it. In this case, you can remove the top rib running through the center if you wish, but please do not throw it away. Instead, use it for other dishes such as stir-fries and soups, as it is delicious when cooked through. After that, adjust the leaves to a size that is easy to cut, and stack them up. Press down with your hand, then slice as thinly as you can, as if you were cutting the same part repeatedly while supporting the blade with your non-dominant hand, just like a stopper. The key to leverage the sharpness of the blade is to slide the knife back and forth, not just up and down. Next, let's work on the green shiso leaves. For your information, I usually wrap them in a wet paper towel and store them in an airtight container to keep them fresh longer. First, stack them up. At this point, you may want to place the smaller ones higher up and the larger ones lower down, so you can easily roll them together in a later process. Cut off the stems before rolling them up. And then shred the leaves. This is called Chiffonading, a slicing technique for leafy green vegetables and herbs. You don't want to crush the leaves because it can cause the flavor to leak out with the juice, so please do not put any pressure on it. Just relax and slide the blade back and forth. When I chiffonade herbs, I usually use around the middle of the blade rather than the heel, as the blade is thinner towards the tip. After shredding, put the cabbage and shiso in cold water and combine them. Then drain with a strainer and keep it in the fridge until ready to serve. This process gives a crisper texture, but please do not soak them in water for too long. Otherwise, the aroma and water-soluble nutrients can be lost. Next, let's prepare the cherry tomatoes. I prefer to eat them cooked rather than raw because they get sweeter, but you can serve them as they are if you prefer. Pull the cherry tomatoes and cut in halves if large. As for the green beans, arrange them in the same direction to cut off the stem ends. Then half the length. We're gonna add them to the frying pan at different points, so please keep them separate. Next, we're gonna prepare the pork loin steaks, but before that, let me explain something. Have you ever had your pork steak curl up as it cooks? That's because the tendon running through the pork shrinks when heated, just like prawns curl up when heated. And that prevents even cooking and browning. So you need to cut the tendon beforehand in order to fry the steaks flat. The tendon runs between the fat and the lean meat. It is translucent and difficult to see, but it is partially visible if you look closely. To cut the tendon, a paring knife works best. Prick the border between the fat and the lean meat with the tip of the knife like this. Repeat this for the other side if you're going to be most careful. When you're cooking a regular steak, this is the end of the preparation. But the sauce for ginger pork burns easily, so I'm gonna reduce the thickness of the steak so it can cook in a shorter time. Using a meat tenderizer, aka meat mallet, hammer out the steak entirely. If you don't have one, a rolling pin can work as well. If your meat tenderizer has a raised side, go ahead and use it as it makes the surface bumpy, making it easier to dress with the sauce. However, you want to serve the steaks looking their best, right? So I recommend you keep one side intact. The steaks are usually served with the wider part leftward, so you should place them in the opposite direction at this point. When the pork steaks are ready for marinating, let's prepare the sauce. Combine the soy sauce, sake, and mirin. As for the ginger and honey, please keep them aside at this point because they tend to burn quickly. When you use pork steaks instead of thin slices, you need to cook them for longer and won't stir fry them, so you want to keep those easy to burn ingredients separate until you finish pan-searing. Pour half of the sauce in a tray before laying the pork steaks down. Then pour the rest of the sauce over. By laying the bumpy side face up, the sauce can stay on the surface. Leave it in the fridge for 10 minutes. In the meantime, let's grate the ginger. Please make sure to wash your hands after handling raw meat. Using a microplane or any other grater, grate it until you have 15 grams including the juice. When you grate ginger, you don't necessarily have to peel it as long as it's washed and clean. Granted, the peel is tougher than the flesh, but the texture won't bother you if you grate it. And above all, most of the spicy and aromatic components are concentrated just below the peel, so I recommend you consume it without peeling for the best overall flavor impact. After marinating the pork steaks, pat them dry with paper towels. As for the leftover sauce, add it to the grated ginger, followed by the honey. Then mix until well combined. Preheat a large frying pan over medium heat. Since the sauce burns easily, you may want to use a non-stick type. Grease the base with oil. 1 teaspoon is enough for a non-stick frying pan. When the oil gets warm and runny, spread it all over the base. Then lay the steaks. The same as hammering out, if you want to serve the steaks appealingly with the best browning or caramelization, you should place them service side down when you start to pan-sear. Chefs always think about how to get the best results throughout the cooking processes, you know? Once they are nicely browned on the bottom, flip them over. And wipe off the excess oil and fat with a paper towel. After that, place the green beans around the pork to cook together. When the other sides are also brown, add the cherry tomatoes. Then pour in the sauce. Simmer the ingredients in the sauce for a minute or two while turning the steaks over occasionally to coat them well with the sauce. To serve them tender and juicy, please be careful not to simmer for too long. Okay then, let's serve them on a plate. Place the cabbage and green shiso in a heap. Then, arrange the green beans and cherry tomatoes followed by the steak. If you eat with chopsticks, you may want to slice it into small pieces before serving. As for the sauce, let it boil and reduce it in the pan until it thickens slightly. Then pour it over the steak to finish. Alright, this is how to make ginger pork aka Shogayaki. I hope this video helps you enjoy the dish even where thin meat slices are not easily available. The ginger flavored sauce really goes well with a wider range of ingredients such as chicken, tofu, and various vegetables, so please feel free to use it in your own way. In the next video, I'm planning to introduce a seasonal Japanese confection that represents the beauty of hydrangeas. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want to see how it is made. If you have any requests about Japanese food you want to learn from me, please complete the short survey in the video description column below. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Have a great day with delicious food. See you next time!